and you will see the Prime Minister shortly entering into the main corridor of the temple. There is a wall of harmony there to welcome the Prime Minister, from which in fact he is making his way in, and after that, once he enters in, this is a massive premises. I'm talking about a 27-acre land that's been given for the temple. The temple itself has been built in about 13.5 acres. So around the entire area also, they've beautifully done it up, with each part of it having significance, huge, each part of it sending out that message of harmony, as in fact the volunteers intended all along. This was a dream essentially that's come alive. From 1997, you had in fact the Swaminarayanjis and the Brahmacharis talking about this kind of a temple, and now it's become a reality for all of them who have toiled for the last many years. From 2019, when the first foundation stone was laid, to now, these images ensure that, we've come a full circle as far as this temple construction really is concerned. The Prime Minister is expected now to make his way to the temple anytime now. He's, taking his time. He's ensuring that he's also there, taking in the breathtaking images right now of, in fact, the temple as well. So what you're seeing behind me, and that's exactly where the Prime Minister will be walking in from. So we'll ensure that we get you the first frame of the Prime Minister within the temple. He's in the premises, of course. And like I said, it's a massive, massive temple here that has been set up. So he's walking through, enjoying the sights and sounds of this beautiful mandir. And then we'll be walking through the red carpet inside the temple as well. So once he's here, he's going to be meeting with all of those who have played such an integral role in making this temple a reality. And then after that, he will be going up for a very brief ceremony. And then there will be an address by the Prime Minister. We're even hearing that there may be a chance of the Prime Minister actually carving on some of the stones to understand what it really takes to make all of this really come alive, to ensure that all of these carvings and how piece by piece it was brought together to bring this beautiful temple as well together. The Prime Minister will be making his way inside now. In any moment, we're expecting him to be watching the temple from a blue eye that's been created right now, right at the entrance of the temple. That's 2 levels down. And the idea is that when you watch from there, you get that entire breathtaking sight of the temple in one go. So from there, once he sees that, he'll make his way forward, walk up the stairs to the first level where I'm at, and here the Prime Minister will walk along this entire area that's been created almost like a ghat, to ensure that, when he's walking by, they get a sense of the kind of divinity, that you would get visiting a temple by the ghats of the Varanasi. So that's the messaging. And you will see, in fact, 3 portions of the entrance of the temple. And when the Prime Minister enters, I'll talk about that, because then you'll get a clearer sense of what I'm mentioning here. There are 3 black panels, essentially, the Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati, to show that they're flowing through this particular temple. And those auspicious waters have also been brought here to be a part of the temple inauguration. So the symbolism, the significance of every single stone that's been put as part of this temple is huge and extremely important as well. So the Prime Minister now is expected to make his way to the entrance, and he's been, of course, walking through the premises, enjoying several parts even below, because there are several attractions there. Like I said, there's a 3D wall that indicates all of the efforts that's gone in and the messaging behind this kind of a temple here in Abu Dhabi. So as in fact we get you all of these live images right now of the Prime Minister making his way inside, this is a moment that is no doubt history in the making, not just for India but also for the United Arab Emirates. Like I said, this isn't the first time that a temple has come up in the United Arab Emirates, but you've never seen a temple of this scale. You've never seen a temple with this much significance, of the government saying that, look, we will step up. I'm referring to the UAE government here. We will step up, actively play a role in ensuring that the temple is fully ready also for you. So every volunteer that you talk to says the same thing. They say that, look, the UAE has played an integral role in ensuring that this dream comes alive, which is why in many of the carvings you will see sheikhs also being shown, along with, in fact, the brahmacharis who are part and disciples of Swaminarayan, who run the entire foundation right now. So all of that is shown in the carvings, the story of how this building, how this temple actually became a reality. Then you have icons architectural marvels of the United Arab Emirates, like the Burj Khalifa, that's actually carved in stone in the temple. So it's like no other temple essentially in that sense. And I know there are a lot of comparisons. This is something I referred to earlier. I know there are a lot of comparisons between this temple and the Ram Mandir. I can tell you that there is no way you can compare the two. Having been to that one and this one, yes, it's made of sandstone. Yes, it's made by hand. So in that sense, there's a similarity. But beyond that, really, you will see that it's completely vastly different. For example, this particular temple has 7 idols inside, 7 different idols that people can come and worship. The idea is to get people from the north, south, east and west of India. And I'm sure everyone who's watching this broadcast right now is also planning, figuring out when they should come and visit this temple. And for, of course, the Indian diaspora here, we're talking about a 3.5 million strong Indian diaspora based in the UAE. And imagine that with such a strong, with such a big Indian diaspora population for 34 years till 2015, you didn't have an Indian Prime Minister who actually came down to the UAE to better ties. And that's why from 2015 to 2024, the fact that you've seen this massive focus on bettering India-UAE ties has translated to what you see next to me, to this very building here, to this temple. So it's indicative really of to be admiring the beautiful sights and sounds here of Abu Dhabi. It's in the midst of a desert essentially, because you have between Abu Dhabi and Dubai this particular temple that's come up. So from the city center, it's about 30 minutes away. But once you come here, there's a sense of tranquil peace, because just a few years ago, you speak to anyone here and you see all of the videos of the making of this temple. Before this was literally the middle of nowhere, a complete desert and nothing else. There's no development, no structures. And now this entire area has in fact got a messaging and got this sign of being a harmony street. You have in fact a South Indian parish church right opposite this very temple. So the idea is, you have a synagogue also, by the way, on this entire lane. So the idea is for the UAE also to send out a message of tolerance, to send out a message that in a Muslim nation, there is a place for this massive Indian diaspora of all faiths, of all cultures, of all traditions to really come together and to be accepted as family here. And that is a message that the Prime Minister also referred to earlier. You had the Prime Minister yesterday at the Airline Modi event where you had 40,000 people attending, speaking about this very temple, saying again what we've been talking about, recognizing the fact that the United Arab Emirates has played a big role in bringing this moment to life. And in fact, even as we get you these images of the Prime Minister as he makes his way to the temple, any moment now, he's going to be behind me, walking up that red carpet, walking through this entire area that's a replica of a ghat, talking to young kids who've been working so hard that every weekend that they've gotten besides school, they've been here at the temple trying to do their bit. He'll be talking to the artisans, as is always the case, the Prime Minister making it a point to send out a message of thanks and appreciation to all of the men and women who've made this mandir a reality, who've made this beautiful dream really come true by being a part of ensuring that the carvings are done, by being a part of putting every single brick in place. Then there are people, of course, who've contributed, who've donated to this cause, who had a chance of laying one brick after another just at the beginning when the foundation stone was laid. So they'll get a chance also to interact with the Prime Minister. So it's going to be a beautiful a ceremony, very fitting, truly, for the BAPS Hindu Mandir, because like I've said, it's all about the symbolism, it's all about the significance, and that's exactly what the Prime Minister is also focusing on when he is a part of this entire, this entire inauguration of the temple. We can tell you also that the Pran Pratishtha has also taken place from this morning. You've had pujas by the brahmacharis happening within the temple complex. The main idol is of the Swaminarayan Ji, which is usually the case. If you visited the Akshardham temple in Delhi or any of the other BAPS Mandirs, there are about 100 of them across the world. In each of their cases, you will see, in fact, that the main idol is that of the Swaminarayan Ji, which is the case here too. But you've got almost 6 other idols also that have been put here in this particular part. So as we continue, of course, getting you all of those updates, and we'll show you also as soon as the Prime Minister arrives here along this red carpet and comes into this particular area. It's going to be a huge moment for BAPS volunteers as well, who've had a big role to play in this moment coming alive. You can hear the music around me. Everyone's waiting with anticipation right now. All the people around who are seated to wait to the Prime Minister, craning their necks to see if he's come right now. At this point, he's made his way inside, but also remember that there will be due protocol followed, in the sense that you will see a delegation of the UAE, the United Arab Emirates government, also present with the Prime Minister. So as we get you all of these images and give you a sense of the historic context of this moment and why it's so important to talk about all that's happening, let's take a look at the images also coming in. You've got the Prime Minister there with the brahmacharis. They are in fact walking in right now, but all the brahmacharis accompanying the Prime Minister, they've been repeatedly talking about how this is such a big moment, also saying that, you know, for us, it's all about the synchronization of bringing cultures and traditions together. The Prime Minister, accompanied by the brahmacharis, will be making their way inside any moment now. And as we show you these images also of him interacting so keenly and, of course, in such a candid manner, you can see the affection between them as well. The Prime Minister has been a part of several other such BAPS events, has always spoken rather fondly of the teachings of Swaminarayan ji as well. So this, by that sense itself, is huge. It's monumental, because you got the Prime Minister ensuring that here too he is a part of this kind of a massive event, that here too he takes part in this event in a 48-hour visit to UAE, one that's crucial, filled with bilaterals. The significance and importance that the Prime Minister is giving to this is clearly shown in the fact that 3 hours of his schedule is going to be spent right here in this temple premises, in this temple complex. So all of them are going to be walking through this entire area with the brahmacharis themselves, explaining to the Prime Minister the importance of this moment, explaining to the Prime Minister what every single monument, structure, brick put up here means to them. And that's what really it comes down to, because at the end of the day, you see every part. The moment I entered this temple 2 days ago, the first thing that stood out for me is that in the very entrance of the temple, like I said, you'll have the Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati being shown there with 3 panels where water is flowing, which we'll show you in just a bit. After that, you will have, in fact, as the Prime Minister comes down, you will see black panels with water flowing upward rather than downward, which is very, very unusual really for, in fact, for any sort of water body. It's flowing upward to show the progress in life, that you never go from up to down, you go from down to up. So that's the messaging with which they've created those panels. And then you come to the level that I'm in. This is the first level of the temple, where already you'll see all the carvings in place. So it's beautiful to walk by. The idea is that people can come here and meditate as well, because as they've created this ghat-like structure here, the people who come here, the devotees who come here, will get a chance to sit around, to enjoy the beauty around them. And I can tell you that standing atop here, you just can't make out anything else. There's only temple. There's the temple premises, of course, that you see. There's a wall that's been put up, so you don't really see the entire desert or the sense of emptiness that's there around. It's only when you're outside that you actually see it. And the fact that this temple has been brought up in a place where there was literally nothing a few years ago tells you of how much hard work, toil has gone into this very moment, of how much hard work it's taken for us to ensure that this temple becomes a reality. For India, of course, and this is something that's been spoken of repeatedly during the Ram Mandir Pran Pratishtha in Ayodhya, that it was in fact a cultural reawakening of sorts, a civilizational rekindling of sorts. With this kind of a temple, it's a similar message that goes out, except that in the United Arab Emirates, where you have a 3.5 million strong Indian diaspora, there's going to be a lot of focus also on the fact that this diaspora feels embraced. It's not just because, it's largely just a Hindu temple. It's also because it's a message of harmony that's being sent across. It's a message of togetherness, a message of of unity, and that's clear in all of the carvings that have been put up here as well. Now, as we in fact show you what the temple looks like, I can tell you that the Prime Minister is expected here any moment. We can hear the announcements being made right now as well. So when he makes his way in, we will get you those first images as well of the Prime Minister. But he is currently with the brahmacharis who run this front right now, who run the temple right now. So for them also, of course, the fact that they extended this invite to the Prime Minister, and you had the Prime Minister accepting it very, very promptly, ensuring that on the second day of his UAE visit, just before he heads to Qatar for another extremely crucial part of the meeting, he is in fact here spending a considerable amount of time. And as the sun sets here in Abu Dhabi, it's absolutely beautiful. And you can see, in fact, that the sun, as it sets down, the lights also come up here, and all of it simply highlighting the architecture of this temple. For the BAPS Hindu Mandir really to come together, you've had nearly 7 lakh people working since 2019 to now, since the foundational stone was laid to now. And that's what's made this entire dream come true. That's what's made this temple a reality. These nearly 7 lakh people that we're talking about, whether it's about the building of the temple, whether it's about security or several other measures that were taken, they've all come together from different parts of the world. There are volunteers here who work full-time in India, who work full-time in the UK, who work full-time in America, who've taken a break of about 20, 15 or even a month-long break just to ensure that they can put all of their energy into this temple. So that is the kind of following, the devotion that they have towards their saint, towards Swaminarayan Ji, that has ensured that they can bring this temple to life. And that's what it's taken essentially for so many of them to kind of leave, put aside all of their other priorities and come here. And as the Prime Minister is expected here any moment now, and as he enters in, you can in fact look forward. All right, we're getting you those images, and I'm going to zoom in to that particular spot because you can see a lot of movement there. There you have the brahmacharis also, and as in fact the SPG makes its way inside, any moment now, you can catch your first glimpse of Prime Minister Modi admiring the temple premises. When he comes in, he is going to be first taking in the splendor of the temple architecture. I can tell you that when you stand way off at the very end of that lane, at the very end of the corridor, that's the first beautiful sight you get. And there you have the Prime Minister walking in, being briefed also about the significance of every part of this temple. You can see the Prime Minister in conversation, also inquisitively asking about each point. And that's what I was referring to right there, that the Prime Minister will stand behind that blue eye. From there, he will look at the temple in all of its entirety, in all of its grandeur. It's supposed to be the best view that you can get of the temple. Behind him, those 3 panels, that is Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati. The idea is to send out a message that amid these holy waters, a temple has risen in the desert of Abu Dhabi. So you have the Prime Minister standing there, understanding the significance of each of these, and you can see him taking a close, in fact, look at that white structure that's been put up, symbolizing an eye, from where he looked at the temple as well. And there you have him standing there right in the center of the temple corridor, waving at people also briefly there. There is an area there where several volunteers have gathered, hoping, of course, to catch a glimpse of the Prime Minister. So he's making it a point to wave to all of them. Along the entire corridor, you see children also dressed up in fact, beautiful traditional attires, all welcoming the Prime Minister here to the BAPS Hindu Mandir. So you've got the Prime Minister standing there, getting a briefing from, in fact, the brahmachari there, and then they're going to make their way up, make their way into the temple. All right, they've started walking closer and closer, and the significance on each side of the Prime Minister, you see water flowing. I explained this to you earlier as well. The messaging is to ensure that, in fact, the Prime Minister, that everyone who enters the temple feels like they're feeling a miracle of sorts, that you've got water, the rivers flowing through amid the sands of Abu Dhabi, amid the desert. So it's a beautiful message that's being sent across. And this is exactly why I've been repeatedly saying that every part of the temple has a sense of symbolism attached to it. So you can see the Prime Minister right now also, in fact, entering, walking through at this point. And as we get you these images, so we're going to show you those live images there. The Prime Minister is walking in deep conversation. He's going to be coming up to this particular level, and when he's here, we'll give you, of course, a clear view, the first view of the Prime Minister as he walks through this entire corridor. He's going to be greeting all of the people who've been a part of this project for the last many years. He's going to be greeting all of the children, the lucky ones who've been chosen to be a part of this event, where they're going to be showing essentially the Prime Minister all the work that they've done with the leftover marble blocks from this temple. I don't know if you can hear it, but the music chants have started here, which is essentially reverberating through the temple. And the energy here is unprecedented. Everyone who's gathered here has started clapping together along with the music that's playing around here, the beats in the temple. And the Prime Minister is walking up the stairs right now along the red carpet. He is going to be spending a considerable amount of time. Everyone who's gathered here has got their phones out. They're all trying to catch that one picture of Prime Minister Modi. For all of them who've toiled so hard for this moment, who've toiled so hard for this temple, they are going to, of course, feel that their hard work has paid off, because the Prime Minister will be recognizing their efforts. The Prime Minister will be there to thank them, to congratulate them for all the work that they have done so far. You can see also that the Prime Minister is going to be entering, and there you have it, the first images of the Prime Minister just next to me, in fact, at the same level that we are standing with a kalash. This has in it holy water, which he is now pouring down into that particular area. So you've got that fountain, and that's what I was referring to, where the water flows upwards, because the messaging is to ensure that life moves upwards. You never go down in life, you go from down to up. So all of the water moves upward. That's the Prime Minister there. You can see behind me. He's walking in at this point. He is going to be coming here in just a brief bit to also interact with the children and everyone else. But first, he's making his way up to the temple as well. But a beautiful, beautiful moment that you just witnessed, the significance of which is huge. You've got these replicas of sorts of ghats that's been created, but to actually make it holy, to actually make it mean something for people who come here from across the world, many of whom can't make it to India. They feel, in fact, the importance and how auspicious a moment like this is, because you had the Prime Minister emptying holy water into the water that's been placed here, the ghat-like creation along the sides of the temple. The Prime Minister going up now to the temple, and in fact, as we get you all of these live images, he's going to be here next to me any moment now to also interact with all the children, to also interact with all the artisans. Now up there, the Prime Minister is currently in the temple, and he is going to be taking part in several rituals, but first, of course, taking in the sights of that beautiful temple as well. Yogi, why don't you speak to us here about the significance of what the Prime Minister just did, pouring holy water, yes, into the fountains, which will then continue to take it around. So you get a sense of really being by the Ganges here.
Exactly, and I think it's an ancient Hindu ritual of pouring the water and the oblation that you're performing there. But what this does is symbolically, it sort of ties together the sacred geography of India. You think of Hindu, the Ganga, the sacred Hindu rivers such as the Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati, and that is sort of brought in to the UAE. So now those rivers and the water in those rivers by the Prime Minister of India is now flowing on this campus. So sort of tying together the two countries in a sort of sacred sense, if I may.
Can you explain to us also what happens next? You have the Prime Minister in the temple. So are we going to, the Pran Pratishtha is done?
Pratishtha was done this morning.
The Prime Minister
now... The Prime Minister will now go up and he will perform an arti of the murtis in the mandir, the sacred deities in the mandir, alongside His Holiness Mahant Swami Maharaj, who is the Guru of the BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha and also is the administrative leader.
Okay, thank you very much, Yogi, for explaining that to us. So, what you're going to see is an aarti being conducted. So, small puja that will happen within the temple premises. I've told you already how, in fact, there are 7 murtis inside, 7 idols inside. So, the Prime Minister will be offering prayers at each of these idols and then will come out. So, he's going to be there for some time, taking in the breathtaking sights and sounds. Just 2 days ago, I was inside the temple. If you think it looks beautiful from outside, you must see what it looks like on the inside as well. Completely made of marble, and in each corner you have beautiful idols that have been put up, and that gives you a sense of really how much effort, the work that's gone into making this temple what it is today. Inside, it's completely made of marble, and the kind of work that's been done, it's also influenced a lot by Arabian design. So it's not completely just Indian desi designs or a temple design as we're very used to seeing. You can hear the music also as people are also chanting along. There's music here, everyone's clapping together, feeling the energy of, in fact, what we're seeing right now within the temple. Now, in just some time from now, once the Prime Minister completes his rounds inside the temple and then also completes the aartis, he's going to be making his way outside to kind of admire the beauty of the temple, and then will meet everyone who's had a role to play in this temple becoming a reality as well. So as in fact we get you all of these images right now, the Prime Minister, you can hear people clapping because the Prime Minister is walking around the temple right now, taking in the beauty of the architecture of the temple. There's a lot of cheering here because the people here, the artisans who've gathered, have got their first glimpse of Prime Minister Modi. So they're all, clapping and welcoming the Prime Minister to Abu Dhabi in their own way. So as we get you, in fact, these images of the Prime Minister walking around in the temple, I'm going to slip into a very, very short break. We'll be right back, getting you all the live updates of the Prime Minister's visit right now to the beautiful BAPS Hindu Mandir. He's just meters away from me, so we'll get you those first images live on India Today on the other side of a very, very short break.
स्वागत सत्कार और अभिवादन कर रहे हैं। अब मंदिर का लोकार्पण महंत स्वामी महाराज के साथ माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री मोदी जी कर रहे हैं।
अथ मंदिरोद्घाटन विधिः अद्यात्र संयुक्तारब राष्ट्रे अबुधाबी नगरे विश्वैकता संवादिता प्रेम शांति इत्यादि मूल्य प्रसारणार्थम समस्त लोक कल्याणाय BAPS हिंदू मंदिरस्य उद्घाटनम् अहं करोमि।
As visitors walk into the temple, the first dome that will greet them is the Dome of Harmony. It consists of 5 layers that represent the 5 elements. The first layer is earth, represented by carvings of the world. The second layer is water, represented by the conch shells. The third layer is light, represented by the carvings of the sun. The fourth layer is wind, represented by galloping deers. And finally, the last layer is Akash, or space, which is represented by the moons and the stars. The messaging is simple, that places change and people change. So if since the beginning of time, these 5 elements, which are so distinct in nature, can create a beautiful world, you and I, who are just a little bit different, can come together and create a more harmonious world.
मंदिर के कलात्मक गुंबज का दर्शन करके अब माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम महाराज के समक्ष आ रहे हैं। इन मूर्तियों की प्राण प्रतिष्ठा आज सुबह में ही परम पूज्य महंत स्वामी महाराज के कर कमलों से संपन्न हुई है। वेद उपनिषद में वर्णित ब्रह्म और परब्रह्म के स्वरूप समान ही यह अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम महाराज के समक्ष विराजमान होकर अब माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री मोदी जी वेदोक्त विधि से इस मूर्तियों का पूजन करेंगे। BAPS संस्था के स्थापक ब्रह्म स्वरूप शास्त्री जी महाराज का आज जन्मदिन है। उन्होंने अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम उपासना के मंदिरों की रचना का प्रारंभ किया था। पूरे विश्व में ब्रह्म स्वरूप योगी जी महाराज और प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज ने ऐसी सनातन उपासना के मंदिरों का निर्माण किया और आज अबू धाबी में ये मंदिर का लोकार्पण हो रहा है।
हम दोनों हाथ जोड़कर मंगलाचरण करेंगे। स्वामिनारायणारंभाम यज्ञपुरुष मध्यमाम महंत स्वामी पर्यंताम वंदे गुरु परंपराम। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुर् गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। स्वस्ति तिलकम। अब महंत स्वामी महाराज नरेंद्र मोदी साहब को चंदन और अक्षत से स्वस्ति तिलक करेंगे। हरिः ओम। स्वस्ति न इंद्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तारक्षो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। कंकणबन्धनम्। हरिः ओम। जदा बध्नन्दाक्षायणा हिरण्यगुंशतानीका यसुमनस्य मानाः तन्म आबध्नामि शतशारदाया युग्माञ्जरदष्टिर्जथा सम्मा। अथ संकल्पः। अब परम पूज्य महंत स्वामी महाराज और माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री अपने दाएं हाथ में जल का चम्मच धारण करके इस मंदिर के लोकार्पण का संकल्प करेंगे। नमः परमात्मने श्री स्वामिनारायण परब्रह्म पुरुषोत्तमाय तत्सत्। अद्य ब्रह्मणो द्वितीये परार्धे श्री श्वेतवाराह कल्पे सप्तमे वैवस्वत मन्वन्तरे अष्टाविंशतितमे कलियुगे कलिप्रथमचरणे भूर्लोके संयुक्तारब अमीरात वर्षे पुण्यभूमौ अबुधाबी नगरे अस्मिन् श्री BAPS स्वामिनारायण हिंदू मंदिरे महाशुभस्थाने अशीत्यधिक-द्विसहस्रतमे विक्रमाब्दे मासोत्तमे मासे माघ मासे शुक्लपक्षे शुभपुण्यतिथौ पंचम्यां तिथौ बुधवासरे रेवती नक्षत्रे शुभयोगे कौलवकरणे सर्वेषु ग्रहेषु यथायथं राशिस्थानस्थितेषु सत्सु प्रकटब्रह्मस्वरूपं महंत स्वामी महाराजानां भारतवर्षस्य मान्यवर प्रधानमन्त्री नरेंद्र मोदी महोदयानां च सन्निधौ मम तथा च आत्मनः एतन्मन्दिरद्वारा विश्वस्मिन् संवादिता शान्ति सौमनस्य सौहार्द सम्पादनार्थं भारतीय संस्कृति सुप्रतिष्ठा हेतवे सर्वेषाम् आयुः आरोग्य ऐश्वर्य अभिवृद्ध्यर्थं धर्म अर्थ काम मोक्ष फल प्राप्त्यर्थं अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम महाराजः श्री राधा सहितः भगवान् श्री कृष्णः पद्मावती सहितः भगवान् श्रीनिवासः श्री सुभद्रा बलभद्र सहितः भगवान् श्री जगन्नाथः धर्मशास्त्रा श्री अय्यप्पा स्वामी श्री गणेश कार्तिकेय पार्वती सहितो भगवान श्री शंकरः श्री हनुमल लक्ष्मण सीता सहितः भगवान श्री रामचंद्रः संकल्प सिद्धि मूर्ति गुरुवर्य शास्त्री जी महाराज गुरुवर्य प्रमुख स्वामी महाराजौ इति भगवत् स्वरूपाणाम् अर्चन वंदन पूजनाख्यं कर्म अहं करिष्ये।
वैदिक संकल्प के बाद
दीजिए।
अब वैश्विक आरती में सम्मिलित होने की क्षण आ गई है। यह आरती अभूतपूर्व होगी क्योंकि यहाँ परम पूज्य महंत स्वामी महाराज एवं माननीय श्री प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के साथ विश्व में फैले BAPS के 1500 से अधिक मंदिरों में एक साथ आरती होगी और विश्व में फैले लाखों सत्संगियों भी अपने घर मंदिर में इसी क्षण आरती की ज्योत प्रज्वलित करके अबू धाबी में विराजमान अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम महाराज की आरती में सम्मिलित होंगे। तो आइए वैश्विक आरती में हम सब सम्मिलित हुए।
श्री स्वामीनारायण भगवान की जय। स्वामीनारायण भगवान की जय। श्री अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण भगवान की जय। श्री पद्मावती श्रीनिवास भगवान की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ भगवान की जय। श्री सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। श्री उमापति शंकर भगवान की जय। स्वामी श्री अय्यप्पा महाराज की जय। श्री गुणातीतानंद स्वामी महाराज की जय। श्री भगत जी महाराज की जय। श्री शास्त्री जी महाराज की जय। श्री योगी जी महाराज की जय। श्री प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज की जय। श्री महंत स्वामी महाराज की जय।
अथ मंत्र पुष्पांजलि। अब हाथ की अंजलि में हम पुष्प रखेंगे। ओम हरिः ओम जग्नेन यज्ञमयजन्त देवास्तानि धर्माणि प्रथमान्यासन्न तेहनाकं महिमानः सचन्त यत्र पूर्वे साध्याः सन्ति देवाः। ओम स्वामिनारायणाय विद्महे अक्षरपुरुषोत्तमाय धीमहि तन्नः सहजानन्दः प्रचोदयात्। ओम श्री अक्षरपुरुषोत्तमाय भक्तमण्डलसहिताय सर्वेभ्यो देवेभ्यश्च इमं मन्त्रपुष्पाञ्जलिं समर्पयामि। अब माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री
पुष्पांजलि के बाद
अंजलि अर्पण करने के
अब
लिए
महंत स्वामी महाराज के हाथ में रखे हुए पुष्पों को लेकर माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री मोदी जी मंदिर में विराजमान अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम महाराज के समक्ष पधार रहे हैं और अपनी पुष्पांजलि इन वैदिक सनातन मूर्तियों के समक्ष रखकर अभिवंदना करेंगे, अपनी प्रार्थना रखेंगे। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री आज वसंत पंचमी के शुभ दिन पर अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम महाराज के चरणों में अपनी पुष्पांजलि समर्पित करके भक्ति अर्घ्य अर्पण कर रहे हैं।
ओम श्री स्वामिनारायणाय नमः अक्षर पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः पुष्पांजलिं समर्पयामि। अब महंत स्वामी महाराज
अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम महाराज के चरणों में पुष्पांजलि समर्पित करने के बाद अब माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री मंदिर में विराजमान भगवान के अवतार स्वरूपों अर्चा स्वरूपों के चरणों में भी पुष्पांजलि समर्पित करने के लिए पधार रहे हैं। सर्वप्रथम राधा कृष्ण भगवान BAPS के संस्थापक ब्रह्म स्वरूप शास्त्री जी महाराज एवं जगन्नाथ जी के चरणों में माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री मोदी जी पुष्पांजलि समर्पित करके अभिवंदन करेंगे। आज मंदिर के लोकार्पण समारोह के अवसर पर मंदिर के निर्माता प्रकट ब्रह्म स्वरूप महंत स्वामी महाराज के साथ माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री स्मृति छवि ले रहे हैं महंत स्वामी महाराज ने अबू धाबी में बने इस मंदिर के लिए कहा है कि ये रण में खिला हुआ कमल है, तो उसकी ही प्रतिकृति के रूप में कमल से बुना गया कलात्मक हार प्रकट ब्रह्म स्वरूप महंत स्वामी महाराज ने माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री को पहनाया है और वे अपने आशीर्वाद माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री की प्रगति एवं यश के लिए दे रहे हैं। अत्यंत उष्मापूर्ण मिलन माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री का परम पूज्य महंत स्वामी महाराज के साथ उसके हम साक्षी बन रहे हैं। और अब माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री मंदिर में विराजमान भगवान के अवतार स्वरूपों अर्चा स्वरूपों के चरणों में पुष्पांजलि समर्पित करने के लिए पधारे हैं।